Hello, friends. I'm Leigh Brown with One Community Real Estate. Now, today on my little live feed here, it is Monday, February 28th, the last day of February. And if you're wondering why my voice just doesn't sound as dulcet as it usually does, it's because I have been talking nonstop for the last few days at the Realtors President Circle Conference. Now, one thing I want to talk to you about today is not just safety, but it's being prepared to be safe and to be helped. Realtors in specific love helping other people. We don't always make it easy for us to be helped. So let me tell you what happened. Yesterday, which was Sunday, February 27th, there was a whole plane full of realtors headed from the Bahamas to Charlotte. Now, of course, being an American hub, a lot of people were heading off to other destinations, but the plane was just slapped full of realtors. But we were quieter than usual because we had all just gotten completely exhausted by being at this really amazing conference. And one of our members had a moment. Now, I didn't even know what it was. Now, here's the skinny. I'm sitting back in row 22 with Lynn from Indianapolis, and we have talked, and now we're reading our books and sitting quietly. And the stewardess came on the overhead and said, we needed to know if there's a doctor on board. And everybody looks up because, you feel like you're about to be in a TV program. And we saw a doctor go up and two other people. We didn't know what was going on. They came back on the overhead and said, does anybody have a straw? Now, as an aficionado of MASH, I thought for sure we were about to find out about an emergency tracheotomy. And so I was just sitting back there praying, and Lynn was praying too, because we didn't know what was going on. And so, of course, nothing else happens that we can hear all the way back in the back of coach. And so we carry on. The plane lands and the staff came on and said, y'all sit tight. We've got to get this person off and get them some medical help right quick. And so they get the person off. We don't have the foggiest idea what's going on. Well, by the time we got our belongings and got off the plane, we found out that it was one of our fellow realtors that had had a seizure on the plane. And here's the scoop. They were getting him handled so well, man. The paramedics in Charlotte were on their A game, and we're all very grateful. And the other realtors that were sitting around him were very shaken, but they were working as hard as they could to give as much information as we had to the medical staff. But here's what I want to tell you about this. He's fine, by the way. He's been discharged from the hospital. And I want you to know how to prepare yourself for a scenario like this. So I want you to get your iPhones out. If you have a Droid, I can't help you. It's very quaint that you have a Droid, but if you have an iPhone, I want you to go to settings, and I want you to go look at your emergency SOS information, because this is what a medic can get a hold of even without your passcode. Because y'all, if you don't have this thing filled out, what are we supposed to do? Pick your hand up and set it on the little finger thing, or hold it in front of your face and squeeze your eyes open so it can see you? I mean, so much of our technology now is designed for privacy, but if you are having a moment like a big old seizure, we want to keep you alive. So when you go to your emergency SOS, you got to make sure you've got your emergency contact here. Now, if you're traveling out of the country or out of the area, why don't you update this to be somebody that's not with you? Because you need to make sure it's somebody that will answer their phone. And if your emergency contact is somebody that screens, fix that right quick. And then you can edit your emergency contacts in the health app. You can put in all of your height and weight and blood type and all that stuff in here. And you should maybe add something in here if you're on medication, or maybe if you've got some kind of pre-existing condition. I don't want to know all your stuff, y'all. Look, but when this young man had this problem, all we could think was, how are we going to give the doctor some information? Because he didn't have a spouse there with him, and no mom and daddy were there with him. So we were hunting through his phone trying to find somebody to get a hold of, because nobody wants to be alone. And you got to make sure you've got an advocate. I mean, that's what realtors do for their clients every day with buying and selling. But it's not just with our buyers and sellers. It's when you're having a medical emergency. So make it easy for somebody to help you. So whatever you're doing right now, stop and update your phone and put something in here. Make sure that in your contacts up here at the top, when I can search, put an ICE, in case of emergency. And that should be attached to somebody's name who will answer your phone, and we can get to hold of them. And I'll tell y'all another story that relates to this, because this is very important, because we're in a world full of screeners. My husband plays ball in the old man league, and that's generally where you carry Ben Gator games instead of beer anymore. And one of our friends stepped in a hole and broke his leg. And so they said, hey, go call his wife. And so I hustled over to the dugout to call his wife, and I got his phone because I thought she would answer it. And she screamed and she screamed and she screamed. I said, well, this isn't working. So I called her from my phone, and she answered. And I said, girl, why did you answer when I called and not him? And she's like, well, I thought You might have something important to tell me and he doesn't. But see, when it's your spouse, we don't always answer the phone. So think about who in your emergency contact list will answer the phone. And by the way, he was fine too. So we have happy endings here. And I want the same for you. So this is Realtor Safety 101. Make sure that your emergency profile is filled out with somebody that will answer your phone. If you're traveling out of the country, make sure it's updated with somebody that will answer your phone. And by the way, if you're taking your kids or somebody out of the country, not a bad idea to have a medical power of attorney just so you can make decisions and be as helpful as you can. That's your moment in a minute. And if y'all want to just say a quick prayer that this realtor has a full recovery, he's already been discharged from the hospital and we think he's going to be just fine, but we have to look out for each other. And you won't always be on a plane with an ER doc, a paramedic, an ER nurse, and a whole heck ton of realtors who will swarm around and take care of you. So y'all take care of each other out there, and I will see you soon.